You ready?
Yep.
Are you nervous?
No, I'm not nervous. But I'm going to start laughing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Prime Train podcast. Now, we've got a very exciting episode today, but before I jump into it, I just want you guys, if you are listening on the Spotify, please give us a 5-star review. That'd be appreciated very, very, very much. And if you're on the YouTube, then make sure that you like the video and then drop a nice little comment, maybe something nice in the comments, because we love nice comments.
Don't get many of them these days,
Don't get many, no. I'm very honoured to welcome to the podcast today, the Prime Potty, Ben Silvagni. How are you today, Ben?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for having me.
Mate,
Happy
no worries.
to be here.
Can you come closer to you?
Yeah,
Ben,
sure.
Get in.
Sorry, mate. Legs don't fit under the table.
Ben does have big legs. You're a big guy. How tall are you these days?
6'6",
What
same
is that?
height as Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So
Not as athletic, though.
Not quite. Nearly, not quite, though.
Who would you say do you reckon will win a dunk contest? You, MJ?
MJ, then Daylight, and then myself.
This is the first time I've heard you be humble, Ben. I don't know what's going on.
You've got to give the people what they want. Give them the honest facts.
Well, Ben, it's great to have you on the potty. I think that there might be a few people out there that know who you are, but let's just go elevator pitch. Give me a 15-second synopsis of who you are. Yeah,
well, a lot of people would know my dad and my brother, and then you'd probably know me. They'd know my grandfather as well. Mm-hmm. So, son of Stephen Silvagni and brother of Jack Silvagni. So, yeah, I'm Ben Silvagni.
Okay, so you're one of the Silvagnis. You're in the mix there.
Yeah, maybe top 5 if I'm lucky. So,
top 5 in your family?
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. On the border.
You've got quite a famous family.
Yes, I do in regards to the football world. So. Mm-hmm. And my mum as well, actually.
I was going to say in the Chemist Warehouse world.
Yeah, well, and she was on Sale of the Century, so I get a lot of grown-ups coming up to me and saying they remember mum from the show. So, you can't forget about mum either. So she could be top 3 as well.
She's definitely, I think she'd be top 2.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, it was actually funny. I was actually in Darwin on the weekend. Went to Chemist Warehouse to get myself some Hydrolite. There was your mum standing right in front of me selling everything, obviously on like a poster.
There's millions of
everywhere.
her in there. Yeah, just like plastered all over Chemist Warehouse.
Going for famous families, your old man is obviously quite well known, as you said, in the footy world.
Yep.
Talk to me about him.
Well, Steve, or Steve-O to me, he's actually just got a new job at St Kilda.
I know, he's a list manager, isn't he?
Yeah, as the list manager. So back to the Saints, he once played AFL football for Carlton, 312 games.
How many goals?
202.
Very good.
And then, made the team of the century. So, yeah, he was a pretty handy player. And then grandfather, 236 games from 1958 to 1970 for Carlton as well. And then Jack, who's still currently playing on 99 not out. So should knock up the ton in round 1, hopefully.
I do have a quiz for you to start us off.
Yeah, go.
I wanted you to list as many of your old man's achievements as you possibly can.
Oh, God. Well, 300 games, mm-hmm. 202 goals, including a bag of 10 goals, 6 against
This could
Fitzroy.
be the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, AFL team of the century, Carlton team of the century. There's an Italian team of the century. 2 best and fairests. There's 5 All-Australians, but it's actually 7 because, it was the VFL and turned AFL.
Okay,
so that's a touchy subject with him. So he says 7. So
right.
I'll run with that. 2 premierships, which are the important ones. And I think he played in like 26 finals or something as well.
It's a very, very impressive resume. I've also got here Mark of the Year, and obviously I had another one as well, International Rules.
Yeah, represented them as well.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yep.
And obviously Hall of Fame, which is...
Hall of Fame. I think he might have gotten best on in one of the International Rules or best player of the tournament.
Did he play as a goalkeeper?
As a goalkeeper,
Yeah.
so he must have done all right. Kept a few out of the net.
That is very good.
Yeah.
I remember Dustin Fletcher used to always be the man in the goals when I grew up watching it.
It's usually the lengthy full backs, so they chuck them in goals. And
the lanky ones.
Yeah, exactly right.
Runs in the
they
family.
do their best. Yeah, not quite.
Well, Ben, look, I wanted, on that topic of family, I kind of wanted to go through a little bit of your growing up life, because I think that obviously sets, you up for your life. Later, obviously, you get drafted and you play a little bit of football, and I think that it's a really important journey to go through, because I think that you have so many things to touch on that will just be really beneficial for a lot of people to hear, and then a lot of habits that I think that you've employed into your life that especially a lot of youngsters going through that similar path will be able to follow and take notes from. So a little bit of your growing up life, you always were in Melbourne?
Yeah, always in Melbourne. So, yeah, lived around Kew and Bourne since 2000, since I was born. So, yeah, and been pretty steady there. And we've grown up, gone to school at Xavier, played footy at Greythorn Falcons and Kew Comets. So, never really deviated too far from the house.
Two brothers?
Two brothers, an older and a younger, Jack and Tommy, both good people.
Who was the better footballer growing up?
I think they would be happy to say that I was the best junior.
Yeah.
I was a little bit bigger. I wasn't a man child. I was just a bit taller. But yeah, doesn't really mean anything. Jack's still in the league, and I may have been out of the system for
Still
a few years
it.
now. Yeah.
Still kicking it. What position did you play when you were growing up? Because obviously you played a little bit of footy, like you said. You were Xavier College, and then did you do a bit of NAB League? But
yeah, at Oakley Chargers. So like growing up through as a real youngster, I actually played in the ruck and just was kind of that extra midfielder, and then eventually progressed to a forward. And then as I got to Oakley and Vic Metro, they needed a defender, and they saw the last name and thought, Dad's a pretty handy defender, we'll chuck him down back. And unfortunately, I played all right, and I've been a defender ever since. So,
do you reckon that last name? Do you reckon that helped you a little bit throughout your junior career, or you always you were always a good enough footballer to make those teams?
Well, it's noticeable, like on paper. Like Dad was a recognisable player, and Jack was in the league as well while I was coming through the ranks. So, people see it and, are able to put two and two together. But I think at the end of the day, I'd put in a body of work to make myself good enough to get to the league or get drafted at least. So, your name can only take you so far. But if you're not good enough, you're not going to make it. So I think that's, the end of that argument of people saying you only got drafted because of your dad. Because, there's the argument where, your dad was the list manager, but in his contract he had, you can't have any involvement with your sons. And we were coming through the ranks while he'd just started being the list manager at Carlton. So it was up to the other list managers and recruiters to make their own opinions about us. And, Jack had a really good national championship game where he kicked 6 goals or something against WA, put him on the map. And then, I played a role as a lockdown defender, which, made Carlton, say my name on draft night. So
what was it like, the process of getting drafted? So your draft year, the year that you were meant to get drafted, you had an injury?
Yeah, probably just over halfway through the year. So
and what injury was that?
My thumb. Yeah, my thumb was broken. There was something wrong with the tendon or something.
How long were you out for?
Good question. I remember I was in a splint for that long. I had, even once it was healed, I still had to wear it. So I can't remember how long I was in that. That was I reckon I was in this splint for 4 or 5 months, but I reckon I couldn't do contact for probably 6-7 weeks maybe. It was gone. And then all the muscle I'd built on my right side, because I couldn't lift weights.
You're looking like Rafael Nadal with the one arm.
Yeah, exactly right. It was starting to wear away.
No good.
Yeah, because I first did it at Vic Metro training, Campbell Brown actually broke it. So
Shout out to him.
yeah, shout out to Campbell Brown, his dog. He's a known hard nut. He's a good man. Just
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him you told him you were a dog.
I did see him out one night and he wasn't.
We saw him in Noosa. Do you remember?
Yeah, we did.
That night in Noosa.
I saw him one night and just said, "You broke my thumb, you dog." And then he told me to break something else, and then realized it was me, and he had a good laugh about it. So he's
not
man.
someone I want to get into a fight with, Campbell Brown.
No, he's pretty tough. So,
I would not.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with him. But yeah, it was an accident. It was like a 2-degree night, and the ball hit it, and he did something to it. It was just like, that was the first break I had in it, and then I ended up playing like 1 or 2 more games. I think it was a school footy game, and then just did it in the last game of the year, and that was it. So.
And you knew though in June, July that you were going to get drafted. So
yeah.
I guess that your mental positioning on the whole thing wasn't too negative.
I think they told me after I'd done it the second time, because I was starting to get worried where they go, your season's over.
You're also like injury prone. Like I think that a lot of clubs look at kids who get a few injuries like, oh, I'm not sure if we're going to pick him. But obviously, you probably had already set the foundation before that. Yeah, correct.
So I hadn't really had too many injuries before that, and then this happened. But yeah, they were lucky enough to tell me that, if things go your way, you're around, we'll pick you up. So that was good of them, and it removed a lot of the stress, and I said you can focus on your studies now.
Did you focus on your studies?
Yeah, I did.
No, I saw in your face just then that you're lying to me.
I did focus on my studies.
How hard did you focus on your studies?
Really hard.
Yeah, okay.
Or you should study really hard.
I don't believe anything.
I got a degree now, so it doesn't matter. But, if you have your time again and you're getting drafted, you should study very, very hard.
What if you don't know you're getting drafted? What if you're in that middle?
You should still study.
Yeah.
You don't know what you... Like, everyone says a footy doesn't last forever. Mm-hmm. So you should, put down the foundation to know at least what you want to do or what you can do.
Do you feel like you got a bit of benefit out of that during footy, during that end of year 12 where you were like, I'm going to just focus on study here instead of my footy?
Yeah, I did. I thought I studied a lot harder than what I did, but obviously it didn't go my way.
Why do you say that?
Because ATAR's not everything, but I didn't get the ATAR that I wanted. Mm-hmm. But I made up for it at uni and whatnot. Like I studied all throughout the time I was playing footy, so it's not like, I didn't get the score I want, I'm an idiot. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to try be smart ever again. For this one particular year, my studies didn't go my way. So
your studies didn't go your way, or you didn't study hard enough?
Through no fault of mine.
Yeah, can't be
through no fault of my own. They didn't teach me the things I wanted to be taught. So
it couldn't have been their fault.
No,
it couldn't have been your fault.
No, it wasn't my fault. No, it was definitely my fault. It's a hard year to balance. Like I told you a bit about what my schedule was looking like. They're long days. Get home at 8:30 after 6 or 7 hours of school and heaps of training. The last thing you want to do is study. So a lot of the time I was going off natural ability or natural smartness.
Natural intelligence.
Natural
maybe.
Intelligence. Yeah. So that's what I did.
Do you have any advice for people that are going through that, I guess, year 12 position where, they're trying to balance it all out? Is there something that they should prioritise, or are you happy to kind of split it 50-50?
Yeah. I think you can't really work around what your team training is and whatnot. Like they have set times and set finishes. So, you got to block out those 3-4 hours of training, but you just got to be really organised about when you're going to be committed and devoted to studying, because I would maybe have a 10-15 minute patch of really focused study, only because I was so tired, and then 45-minute break, and that's not the way I should go about it. I should have maybe gone 30 to 40 minutes of really intense study and then have a spell after that and maybe go again.
If you could have your time again, would you have changed anything in that year?
Would I?
Apart from the injury, because you can't change that.
Would I have? Nah, look, it was a fun year, but it was hectic hours. Like, I wouldn't really want to go back to that year. Like, there's the stress of school, there's the stress of the draft. Like, that is not fun. I
want to get to that, the draft night. And what does.
Like, before I knew I was getting drafted, and because I wasn't a high pick or I wasn't no certainty to get drafted, I was still as stressed as everyone else. And then the stress of studying and then, trying to get good marks and, there's a standard set by Jack as well, which I'm competitive, so I wanted to beat him. And, he got me again. So, there was a lot of stress throughout that year. I wouldn't change it because it shaped me into who I am, but I wouldn't go back to that year by any means. Like, it was fun, but not fun at the same time. Yeah.
Well, at the end, you got drafted. You got picked up by the Carlton Football Club.
Yeah.
Your old man was the list manager.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a conflict of interest, but I'm just going to leave that to the side.
Like I mentioned earlier, it's out of his contract.
I'm going to leave it to the side.
You're just like every other person I play against. Like, all they say is you only got drafted because of your dad. Like, think of something new. I've heard it all before.
Mate, I'm not out in the field giving you stick. I was sitting in a podcast room.
That's because I was out playing AFL and you're out playing local footy.
And dominate.
And I was out playing VFL, so I've lied in front of the cameras.
Not getting a kick, unfortunately.
Yeah, neither.
What was it like? Draft night, you get picked up. You're the king of Carlton. I guess you're kind of put there as you've got a famous name.
Yeah, it's
an exciting thing for fans.
Yeah,
people are starting to know you. You probably get inundated with some new followers.
Yeah,
it's a massive hit of positive energy.
Really exciting, like something that I dreamed of my whole life, and then more, like even dreamt of more once Jack got drafted. So, once I saw him get drafted, I was like, and saw the times he was having, the relationships he's building, and, getting to play on the big stage and play pretty well. I thought, this is what I want to do. So that was unbelievable. Like doing what Jack, Dad and Normal have all done. Dream come true. I think a lot of the supporters would have been sick of, the Silvagnis by then. Like all the hoo-ha with Jack had just finished up, and I think he might have been going into it. I think he hit a form slump and was just getting bashed by the media.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think me coming in would have probably, they're happy for me, but there's only so much you can take of one family, isn't there?
That's fair enough. But I would be sick of it.
No, he's playing well now, though. So glad he got over it. One of the few to, break out of the slump. So good on him.
He is playing very well. Kind of playing as that like third tall pressure.
He's just a hybrid, mate.
It's weird. Yeah, he's kind of playing this weird role. Anyway, he's doing absolutely fantastically, and we're very happy for him. What did you find as the biggest difference from that draft year into getting drafted, in terms of the way that you live your life, the professionalism?
Yeah, like it's a job. Like it's hard to explain. Like you think growing up, you're just playing footy for fun, and you want to get drafted and play AFL, but like everyone takes it as seriously as you, and I think every AFL player was that guy who took footy too seriously at junior level and local level, whatever.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, and there's nothing wrong. I was definitely that person. But then, everyone's as serious as you, so there's meetings and all that, and the bodies are huge. Like I've come in as an 18-year-old fresh out of school, and like I said, I'm maybe 80 kilos, and then trying to play as a key position player against Jacob Wiedering, who's 180 kilos. Like, he's enormous. So you get there and you just see like there's a lot of work I have to do before I'm actually ready to play, because I didn't come into the system ready made, and they emphasise that, saying like you're probably not going to be ready to play for round one, and I was alright with that. Like, I'm happy to play.
Still getting paid.
Well, it's not about the money, mate. Like, I didn't care about the money. I was just happy to be there. So I just knew there was a lot of work I needed to do, and I had to put on a lot of weight. I wasn't that fit, so I thought I was, but I wasn't as fit as I needed to be to play AFL. So I didn't really get that sorted until my second year. And I started to put things together, I thought, in my second year before I got delisted. So
what did you do with your diet there, because you said you had to put on a little bit of weight, and you probably did in that first year?
Yeah, it's actually great because you're just encouraged to eat.
What kind of things you eat?
I wasn't really big on I didn't really eat bad foods. Like, Mum was really good because obviously she's married to Dad and had to cook for him. So I've always actually eaten a pretty good diet. Yeah, a pretty good diet. It just more. I just needed to eat more. So I'd get home starving, smash my face full of whatever Mum had whipped up, and then, I'd be off to bed and do it again the next day. But it was, just encouraged to eat, and that was it basically. 7 serves of protein I think I needed a day of 30 grams.
Wow.
So that was like tuna. There were bars. We made shakes. And that was hard actually to keep up on, like 210 grams of protein.
It's a lot of protein.
Yeah, I don't even think anabolic Gabe would have that much. So,
well, that is a hell of a lot of protein. That actually segues perfectly into if you guys are wanting some more protein into your diet, then you can go and check out our supplements, which are online. You can also go check out any of our programs. We also have Prime Train apparel as well, so make sure you go check that out. If you use the code podcast, you will get 20% off. I'm pretty sure I've sent you some of the products.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I've given you some vanilla protein.
Delicious, and doesn't even taste like protein. It's like a milkshake.
It's a milkshake.
Yeah, I do love a good milkshake as well.
We're a big fan.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys go check that out. Like I said, use the code podcast to get 20% off. 100% grass-fed whey protein isolate, which is just the greatest protein that you can ever get your hands on. We obviously have orange-flavored pre-workout, and then the Prime creatine, which is great for energy and improving your performance. A big thanks to Whoop for being one of the greatest fitness trackers on the market. They just sent me out a couple of new bands, so now I'm rolling with the black band. I've got a blue band and then a white band, so I can actually wear it with any type of attire, any type of colours. If I'm going out, they just fit perfectly into any type of daily setting. So I use my Whoop band to track my recovery, my sleep, my daily strain as well. It's also got a new feature where you can actually monitor your stress, which is absolutely amazing. So make sure you guys go and check out Whoop ASAP, because they are the greatest way to track any of your fitness sort of stuff. Bugger off with that Apple Watch, bugger off with that Garmin. It's time to get yourself a Whoop to keep up to date with everything that's going on inside your body. Gee whiz, I'm good at that, aren't I?
Yeah, you rehearsed that a few times.
I actually haven't. I don't know.
It's pretty good.
Thanks, mate.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. I've had a couple of goes on previous podcasts, but I'm feeling very smooth with it.
Yeah, that was good.
Thanks. All right, moving on. Let's talk about, you get to the new stage. You're a young man. You're a young lad. You're surrounded by some older gents having beers on the weekend and stuff.
Yeah.
You're probably getting into clubs and into pubs and into bars pretty easily as a young fella. What was it like being the man around town, being able to go out, have some beers, just freshly getting drafted?
Yeah, no, it felt good. Like, you kind of just felt a little bit like a celebrity, although I hadn't really done anything different. By that stage, I hadn't really done anything. And you only go out so much because you're in the thick of pre-season and you're trying to get in shape. But yeah, it was actually good. Like, you're one of the few people straight out of school with a full-time job, so you're happy to buy your mates drinks and whatnot. So yeah, that was fun actually. Like, we used to go to Arcadia Hotel, Arc or Shark Park, and had a good time there. So, that was great. Fresh out of school, and great memories.
Now, obviously, coming out of school,
Yep.
and going out a fair bit. What were the girls like after you'd first been drafted? You going out a lot?
Yeah. Nah, they were nice. They were nice to me, like a little bit nicer than they had been when I was at school. But like,
a little bit nicer when you weren't on an AFL list?
Yeah. They were a lot nicer when I was on the list, yeah. So, but that's all right. Everyone likes a footballer, or so I think. So, but yeah, like you just got to be careful, because people just sometimes want you for your profile, or they're making a bit of money, the footballers. So you got to be pretty careful. But I was brought up in a way where I got to be respectful, and I knew how to behave. So I was always pretty careful.
That's a very good response there, Ben.
Yeah.
You've done extremely well to quell that question.
Thank you.
Very, very good. So you had 1 year in COVID, didn't you?
Yeah, the original COVID year, 2020.
Yep. How was that on a list?
Oh, shocking. Like, it's just
that was your last year before you got delisted.
My last year, so it was just like, so I love playing footy, but it's just, I can't be a footballer 100% of the time. Like, I need to let the hair down and, be an idiot for an hour or two a day, or, go...
Or longer.
Or longer, or 24 hours. But, I just can't, be footy orientated the whole time. So you'd be in this hub or with all the players and coaching staff and the rest of the staff, and it'll be 9 o'clock and a coach will grab you to talk about footy, and it's just like you're on your way to bed, and here you are going through tactics or what you need to do better. It's like it's in one ear and out the other, because I'm at this stage of the night I don't care, because I've listened to what I need to do today. I've had my fix of footy, and I just can't be a footballer for the rest of the night. I just can't comprehend anything that's going in.
Your mental capacity would be so low.
Oh, and
at 9 p.m.
It was different because I wasn't in the first team, so I was playing scratch matches that I had 12 on 12 sometimes, and Dad would call me up after the game and be like, "How did you play?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was all right, but I wasn't playing footy. Like, it's 12 on 12. It's like
keep you off."
Yeah, exactly. It's like Auskick. I said, I don't even.
It's like AFLX.
Yeah, and it's hard because you're not playing for anything either. You're playing a season full of practice matches with less numbers and no official umpires, no fans. It was weird for me. But in saying that, I did go out. I thought I played pretty well, and I had a good time. It was just there was no light at the end of the tunnel for me, because the people whose positions I was competing for were Jacob Wiedering and Liam Jones, and they were dominating at that.
You played
stage.
a little bit forward though, didn't you?
I did, but I'd started playing pretty well down back, so all the development coaches were getting around me, and I just wasn't hearing much from AFL. So, and I wasn't hearing anything, and we were in the hub, and I saw the coaches a million times a day. So, yeah, there wasn't much communication, but that's about it. I did what I could, and it didn't work out.
Look, the one of the big reasons I wanted to get you on for this chat is because a lot of the time we have these kids that expect to be Chris Judd, or they expect to be Dustin Martin, and they think that it's normal to be able to spend 15 years in the system. But the reality is sometimes you get drafted and, it's a lot of your life, but sometimes you only spend 1 to 3 years. I think that's the average. Like, I think 2 years is like the average of what people generally spend in the system. So I think, moving forward, and then you have eventually the delisting at the end of that COVID year, which obviously would have been heartbreaking for you. Yeah. But like, how did you kind of manage that and work through that?
Yeah, I was lucky. We were in Queensland. Like, I had my exit meeting, and then I drove up to Noosa, so I was out of the hub then and didn't have to, isolate from anyone. I could live like a normal person, so that was refreshing. But I was on the phone constantly to mum and dad and my close friends, because you put a lot of your eggs in that basket to play AFL, and then, in the blink of an eye, it's taken away. So, and then you get all these emotions and feelings, and as if like, well, what do I do now? Like, I haven't finished my degree. I'm in Queensland. Melbourne's in lockdown. What do I do? So, I kind of just enjoyed myself for 2 or 3 weeks up in Noosa, and mum and dad have a nice place up there. So
very nice place. We like it.
Yeah,
up there.
we do like it up there.
Like it.
So that was good and that was refreshing. But hadn't seen my family and other than Jack in however many months. So I eventually went home, sat out the rest of lockdown, and I ended up just churning through my uni. And I was lucky just to get great support from everyone, and it was just hard. It just took time. Like I just kept training. I was coming off injuries. I had to rehab them. I just wasn't fun. Like there was no good way to go about it. Like you're in lockdown, injured, and without a job. So
mentally, how much did being delisted take a toll on you?
Yeah, heaps. Even now, you get your person on the field who'll bring it up. Doesn't matter, but I still prefer if my friends or my family don't bring it up.
Of course.
I think it's almost the only job in the world where you can take the mickey out of someone for getting fired essentially, and expect them to be all right with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That actually just gave me chills.
Yeah. So it's like I had people, I could be in an argument with someone and they'd bring it up, and I'm expected just to cop that on the chin. It's it's different. So I'm over it. I'm over it now. Like, I've moved on to different things, but it was still a part of my life, and I wish I could have been playing footy for 20 years. It's the best environment, the best job in the world, and I still stand by that. So to get it stripped from me, and then for people to bring it up and make fun of me and other people about it, it's probably not fair. Like, it's not I can joke about it, but it's not all right if other people joke about it. So
do you think that it was more difficult for you because you didn't really have an exit plan? Like, you didn't really know exactly what you're going to do next?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that made it difficult. Like you said, these young boys think they're going to play for 10, 15 years. I thought I was going to play for 10 years. And I thought I was coming to and going to be a good player from where I was in my first year to where I was in my second year. So I thought I was making the right steps, and then, I get delisted, and then the world's put on hold. So it's not like I wasn't trying to set myself up for post footy. I didn't have enough time. Like, I'd been studying for 2 years. There's there's people in worse positions than me who, have heaps of bills to pay, mouths to feed, and are without a job. It was, I had to think of it like that. Like, I wasn't happy, but there were people who were worse off than I was.
Is there anything that you did to get back on the horse?
I think going away to Noosa was really nice for me. Like, I could just, because that's my happy place. Like, I'm very happy there. I sit on the beach, sit at the surf club, have a few drinks
We love that.
With or without you, I don't really care.
You love it with me.
Yeah, it's not bad.
We love a Jap lager.
Yeah, we do.
We love a Noosa Heads Jap lager.
Yeah, so that was refreshing, and I think for the first few days, like, I'd get home and I'd be pretty upset because, I'm still highly emotional in regards to what had happened, and then it just took a while for it to wear off. And then I ended up getting a job with some good friends over at Boccaccio Wine Cellars.
Oh yeah.
Just in North Bourne. So that was really good, and I got to talk smack about like my whole career and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, they were Carlton and Collingwood supporters, but they were really smart about what to bring up and then what not to bring up as well. Like, they were very respectful with how I was in regards to my career, and then I could talk to them about. I was comfortable talking to them about how I was feeling, more so comfortable than what I was with like my mum or dad, which is obviously family, dad's career panned out really nicely, and then like sometimes you just don't want to talk to your mum about certain things as well.
They just sometimes get in your ear, mums, don't they?
Yeah,
They're just like, they don't let up.
Yeah, mum's the best supporter, but it's like sometimes I don't like talking to her about footy because she's like, she's watched a lot of games of footy, don't get me wrong, and she knows her things, but there's some things that she doesn't know. Yeah. So as much as she'd like to argue that, but,
Oh, hopefully your mum's not watching this.
No, she'll watch. She's a great supporter. We love her. She will be the first view, but she'd understand that like I like to go talk to other people about things. Mm-hmm. So that's how it is.
And how important is that to have those other people that are there to support you, whether it's extended family or it's close friends that you can kind of escape to?
So important, because you can't just sit there and get over something traumatic on your own. Like I thought like being delisted was not actually a traumatic experience, but it's a major event in my life. So like having those friends and family around you to talk to and support, that's really important. Like Will Golds, who's one of my best mates, he was in a very similar position to me as well, injured throughout basically the whole second year and then delisted, and we live a minute away from each other. So we were able to bounce off each other, ways we were feeling, what helped. And then, there's always that motivation after, a few years in the system to get back at it and, try and make a list again because, you feel like it was too short.
Let's talk about it. We've got footy this year.
Yep.
You're going to be playing for Collingwood VFL.
Correct, yes.
Talk to me about that, because I'm really excited to see how you go, and I'm excited to see if you might just have a bit of a blinding year. And
yeah, I think it's the best I've felt in a little while. I've just had injuries and all that. My shoulders have been no good and my hamstring, but I get a full pre-season. I had most of the year off last year. Just to work and travel and, see what I want to do. And yeah, I was lucky the passion came back to play. And yeah, I've moved across to.
Are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed to play for the Pies?
Well, Carlton delisted me, so I can play wherever I want.
Well, that's fair. That is fair.
They didn't want me.
No,
if they wanted me, they would have asked me to play at the AFL,
Well, I reckon if I could do like a sports bet thing of who I think would draft you first, you know who'd be the top?
Who?
St Kilda. You know why?
Why's that?
Because your old man's a list manager. He did just get a new job as the Saints list manager, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And while we're at that, if you're gonna sledge me, make sure you sledge Liam. Make sure you sledge Liam Stocker. I'm not letting him get away with this. He was drafted to Carlton by my old man, and then now he's at St Kilda. Coincidentally, where Dad's just become the list manager. So shout out to Stock. I hope you cop it worse than I
do. Shout out Stocks. We can't be having that, can we?
Nah, can't be happy with that. It was Dad treating some random kid from Hampton better than his own son. Like, come on.
Must be in his contract. No more Silvagnis. Can't draft Silvagnis.
That would be the first thing written down, I reckon.
Is there anything that you reckon is stopping you from getting drafted this year? And what are you going to do to combat that?
Look, it's not a matter of me like going out of my way and setting a goal to get drafted again. It's like I'm happy to play as at the highest level I can, whether that be VFL or AFL. Like I want to play in a team that wins. I haven't played finals since about 15 or 16. So I want to be in a successful team and I want to perform to the highest level I can. And then, if I'm able to do that, who knows what happens. But, I've got a life outside of football now, which, when you're an AFL footballer, you'd be very careful about how you balance yourself. As a VFL player, you can, be a bit less careful and, you can spend more time out doing what you want and, like an equal amount of time training and playing VFL. So, I'm just going to play it by ear and see how I go. I'm not phased if I do or don't. Like, if I do, awesome, I'll be wrapped, but it doesn't define me anymore. So,
do you reckon that that's like an Australian culture thing where it's like, I'm not going to come out and say I want to get drafted because I'm like, I'm a bit worried about what people think of me? Like, because I don't know, that's just something that...
Well, it's like, for where I want to be in life, if I'm like aiming to only get drafted, what if I don't?
Yeah.
I have to do other things to be able to live the life I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
So with my real estate and advocacy business, I've got goals for that, which I'd almost much rather tick off than, getting drafted. But if I get drafted, I'd still like to tick them off as well. So I think right now where I am in life, I've found a good balance of what I want to do, which I wish I could have done it earlier when I was playing AFL, but I was so young. I didn't have that experience, that education that I did. So I just think if you're only aiming to get drafted, then you're almost setting yourself up for failure in the future. Like, you should always have something else going, whether that be like study or, part-time work, experience, like studying a trade or whatever, learning a trade. Like, you have to do something else, because you realise as soon as you're out of the system, you're almost like a number. So there's a lot of people who suddenly don't care about you. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people who do care for you and like you for who you are and the player that you were or the person you were. But, a lot of them don't, because at the end of the day, it's a business. So, yeah, that's my view on it.
Far out. Mate, you're actually spitting some nice little reels and shorts for me.
Yeah, well, I've had a long time to think about it.
No,
that time in Noosa, I was sitting on the beach on my own,
contemplating.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking. I'm like,
Wow.
Yeah, I've got my own views of separate things. But to be fair, the AFLPA have been really, really good. Like, they are setting me up, and they've been helping me with my education and setting me up with connections and contacts.
Wow.
So, yeah, they're really good at helping players for life after football. So, it's not all doom and gloom as I've made it out to be. Like,
No.
I've had the best time of my life when I was on a list, but it's that period when you're off a list and you start to feel like nothing. It's like, I could have been treated better, or this could have been done to make my time more pleasant, or my transition from AFL player to real world person.
Something to fall back on, I think.
Yeah, exactly right.
You're doing some pretty great things now, though. Like you said, you've got yourself a little bit of a real estate business that you're working it through. Yep. Which is going great.
Yeah, going well. So, I've been doing that for about 6 or 7 months now. And, it was hard to find what I liked post-football, because, like I said before, I've put a lot of the eggs in that basket and wasn't sure what I wanted to do, like a lot of young men and women. So, I was luckily I had a cousin in real estate, and he kind of got me into that, and kind of just went from there. And I'm a referral partner for a couple of real estate agencies, and then run a buyer's advocacy business. So I buy and search for properties for people who ask me to. So
which I'm going to be doing in about 6 months, I reckon.
Yeah, perfect.
We'll get chatting.
Yeah, we'll get chatting. What are we looking for? A mansion? Turak or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I can afford that, unfortunately.
Not yet.
I need to get more people to watch
you
the
might
potty.
blow up like Louis.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I need some more. I need some more brand deals, I think.
Yeah.
I need more people to listen to the potty.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got some interesting questions here from a few fans.
I have fans, or my fans, or yours?
Well, I think that they're my fans, but I think that they're going to become your fans.
I hope so.
After this podcast, because you spit some very good knowledge for us. First question I've got.
Yeah.
What are your tips? Why are you laughing?
Because I don't know what your fans could say. I'm a little bit worried.
There was some stupid questions. Any more questions about like any of that sort of stuff? Just don't ask it. Anyway, I've had some stupid questions.
I did hear them as well. Tom's fans need to pull their head in.
Yeah, come on, guys. I've got your Instagram account handles. I know who are.
Tom's mum sees his DMs.
Yeah, exactly. She actually organises all of my DMs. On the Prime Train account, not on the other one. Tips for any youngsters wanting to get into the AFL. 3 tips for youngsters trying to get into the AFL.
3 tips. You got to run as much as you can.
Great call.
Yeah.
You have no idea the fitness that you have to be at to play in AFL.
Yeah, Dad always told me, like, the running game's here to stay. So, I wish I did a little bit more running when I was younger, but I didn't. I don't know why.
Running,
so
number
one.
1.
What else? Just practice your skills as much as you can before and after training. Add intensity and under fatigue as well.
Ooh.
So that would be my one, because you got to hit targets in the AFL. Came in, my kicking wasn't really that good, so that set me back a little bit. And then the third one would be play to your strengths as well.
Great call.
So, I would say play to your strengths, because if you're good at 1 or 2 things, that you'll probably become a good player.
It's a really good call. I think that note that you always say is like play to your weapon, or play to your strength, like you said, because that can literally be the reason for you getting drafted or not getting drafted. Like, I know a lot of people get drafted just because their weapon, let's say, is their endurance.
Yeah.
Or their weapon might be that they're a fantastic ball user, and you can literally get drafted off just that one thing.
Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, he only got drafted because he's an athlete. So what? You got drafted.
So what? You got drafted.
Be an athlete.
Exactly.
Or he only got drafted because he doesn't miss a kick. Well, what are you doing?
Well,
why aren't you drafted then? You can bag him, but you're not drafted.
Are you single is another question that I got.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
nah.
damn. I had so many.
Got a beautiful girlfriend, so stop. Don't DM
Stop
Tom.
DMing me.
Yeah, don't DM him.
Stop DMing Ben.
Shout out to Cairo as well. 1.5 years, very happy.
Wow.
Yeah,
we
not
love
going
Cairo.
anywhere. Yeah.
Big fan of the podcast as well, I know.
Yeah. Well, she's only little, so she's a little fan. She's tiny. She's tiny.
She does. She will definitely become an avid podcast listener after
She
this.
will. Very.
Talk to me a bit about her, because she's kind of low-key famous.
Yeah, low key. So she's big on TikTok.
400k, 500k?
I don't know.
Something
What
around
you'd
that?
know more than I would. Like,
I
don't know.
I don't do TikToks. I've cancelled. I just do podcasts.
Yeah, so she's a good mover. She can dance. She's pretty good looking, I reckon.
I'd hope so.
She's got a good personality as well. So I think it's a mixture of all 3, and she gets her fans for her personality, her looks, and the way she moves as well. So, and I think also they might like her hair. I think she's got very luscious hair.
Do you reckon that they follow for the relationship content?
Yeah, actually, I've gone viral a few times. Yeah.
You mean you've both gone viral?
No, she might have had a few videos that didn't go so well, and then puts me in them, and then it'll blow up. So there's a lot of people comment on our height difference, so they like that. Yeah, 40 something centimeters, 43. I think
That is a lot.
Yeah.
Now you guys have been together for a 1.5 years, which
Yeah.
is a long time, and she's had some pretty massive DMs come through.
Correct. Yeah.
From some famous people.
Yep.
Tiger, I think one.
Yeah.
do you have any tips for a successful relationship? Because I mean, you guys are steady and strong.
Yeah, so just be a better bloke than Tiger, basically. It's not that hard. Like, there are plenty of blokes better than me.
But not Tiger.
I still got Cairo, but yeah, if Tiger's listening, like, free tickets. I know you're hearing. I think he's here this year. So
he does listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
I know he does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does.
I know he does. He's definitely one of the listeners.
If he wants to chop some free tickets, that would be great.
I know for a fact
I would
listens.
come. I don't want the nosebleeds. I would like front row. And Cairo, I'll bring Cairo as well.
You want backstage, is what you want?
Nah, that's too close to him.
Yeah, no, you got to keep your distance, actually, because he might steal Cairo off your hands.
Yeah, well, no, I think Cairo and I are pretty happy, so... Yeah, but a free ticket, like, I'll give him that. Like,
yeah.
We can sit in the crowd together, and hopefully he's happy with Cairo, and then I look like a really good boyfriend for getting tickets. So
True.
It's a win-win for all parties involved.
You are a good boyfriend.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Good work. Well, that's almost a wrap, but before we wrap, I just want to shout out to Alive Symbiotic, which is our new soft drink, which is very exciting. Just making waves through the Australian Open. Recently, we've obviously got Kyrgios, the brand owner, who's doing massive things.
So you're the second biggest celebrity with Alive.
Well, Louis probably bigger than me.
Oh, no.
These days.
Maybe you're not top 5 either.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'd even be top 5 owners. You love the Alive Symbiotics.
I do love it.
Favourite flavour?
I actually like ginger.
Ooh,
yeah.
I don't love the ginger as much. I'm not a ginger guy.
No, I'm a big ginger man.
I flogged the lemon lime bitters, and I've actually come around to blood orange passion fruit now.
That's number popular. Number two for me.
It's so good. We've actually got new flavours coming out as well. We've got raspberry lemonade,
Elite,
which is going to be exciting, and we also have an orange flavoured soft drink as well, which is better than Fanta. So if you're drinking Fanta and you want something better, like a Lear Lear, Lear drinks Fanta. It doesn't drink water.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's your fun fact. That's all I've got for you.
Perfect.
Well, Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. You're always welcome again.
Thanks for having me. Maybe we'll bring Cairo in next time.
We will bring... Cairo's definitely coming on a podcast because I want to talk about DMs and stuff.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate.